Hello, class. This is Quiz for Review covering chapters 9 and 10. The quality of being sexual, which includes behaviors, instincts, and attitudes, is sexuality. A girl's first menstrual cycle is called menarche. Menarche may align with a girl's puberty. However, it can precede this stage of development. Girls start as early as 8 and 9 years old. An outward expression of blended male and female traits, as seen in this illustration, is androgyny. The physiological mixture of male and female traits is termed hermaphroditism. This female organ's role is strictly pleasure. As you can see in the illustration, the clitoris is a small structure that is atop the labia, just inside the labia minora. Okay. This female reproductive organ produces egg cells, estrogen, and progesterone. Those are the ovaries. As you can see here, the ovaries, the fimbriae, and the fallopian tube are structures that are here together. The ovaries produce egg cells, which are released during menstruation. The fimbriae are the finger-like projections that their job is to catch that egg and sweep it down the fallopian tubes. So, yeah. This physical and emotional discomfort is associated with menstruation. That's dysmenorrhea. The male reproductive organ that produces sperm and testosterone is the testes. As you can see here in the illustration, the testes are here. The male sex organ that houses immature sperm is the epididymis, and the epididymis is right here, right? This term describes individuals with a gender identity opposite their biological sex. That term is transgender. As you can see in this illustration, this is Bruce Jenner when he was a male. This was a picture when he was an Olympic athlete. And today, Bruce Jenner is Caitlyn Jenner. And on the right, it shows how she looks now. Another very famous person who transitioned from one sex to the other is Elliot Page. Elliot Page's transformation was from F to M, whereas Bruce's transformation to Caitlyn was from M to F. This is another term for coitus, intromission. The illustration here shows you a cross section of vaginal penile intercourse. Okay. According to Master and Johnson, this sexual response occurs at the peak of sexual arousal, that is orgasm. So the illustration to the right shows the 4 stages of the sexual response cycle as defined by Masters and Johnson. The first stage is excitement. Excitement occurs when you see something or someone that is sexually arousing to you. So it creates an excitement in the body, which starts the process of the pooling of the blood and the tingly feelings. Plateau, the next stage, is also referred to as the orgasmic platform. The body is preparing itself for an explosion of pleasure. Orgasm is that explosion of pleasure that occurs at the peak of arousal. And following that is resolution, where the body returns to its pre-arousal state. Okay. The process by which semen is expelled from the body through the penis in a man is called ejaculation. Women can also ejaculate fluid, and this fluid comes from the urethra. And in a woman, it is commonly termed squirting when a woman has an ejaculate. All women are capable of it. Every woman doesn't know how to manipulate their bodies in that way. After a sexual encounter, men typically enter a refractory period during which they are incapable of another orgasm. The merging of sperm and ovum is conception. The fusion of sperm with the nucleus of an egg, producing a zygote, is known as fertilization, as you can see in the illustration to the right. Okay. Using the same illustration, after a zygote divides, a fluid-filled ball of cells called a blastocyst, as you can see at the bottom, attaches to the uterine wall. Okay. An act commonly known as pulling out or withdrawal is coitus interruptus. Coitus interruptus is the medical term for pulling out or withdrawing. Condoms. Condoms, unlike other barrier contraceptives, when used correctly, provide some protection against HIV infection and other sexually transmitted infections. The illustrations, one is of a male condom use, and the other is of a female condom use. For a male, it is important to put the condom on in the right direction, which means that the folds of the condom should be turned up like a hat. As you can see in the illustration, he pinches the tip of the condom, leaving a little bit of space as a reservoir to collect semen. Then he rolls the condom down all the way to the base of the penis, and voila, it's on correctly. Not pulling it all the way down or not allowing that space for the reservoir is putting it on incorrectly, or putting it on where it does not roll in the right direction are all incorrect. For a female is trying to insert one end of the condom and attach it to the cervix, like a diaphragm, and the other part is anchored on the outside to keep it in place. When used correctly, it improves the effectiveness of using a condom by at least 10%. A small plastic device that's inserted into the uterus for contraception is an intrauterine device, or IUD. Hormone pills, or an IUD that can be used after unprotected sex to prevent pregnancy, that would be emergency contraception. So the hormone pills would be taken after unprotected sex. If a person has an IUD, the device itself is what will protect that person from pregnancy. All right. Okay. Once a blastocyst embeds into the lining of a uterus, it's known as a embryo. A surgical procedure performed on males in which the vas deferens are cut and tied shut to stop the passage of sperm into the urethra for ejaculation is known as a vasectomy. As you can see in the illustration to your left, the procedure is simple. It only has 4 steps. Most men experience some pain, a little cramping, but that usually subsides within a few days. Yeah, usually that subsides within a few days. A pregnancy in which the fertilized egg is implanted into the fallopian tubes or anywhere outside of the uterus, it's called an ectopic pregnancy. It typically implants out in the fallopian tubes, and that would be called a tubal pregnancy, but it can actually implant anywhere outside of the uterus and be considered an ectopic pregnancy. Sometimes ectopic pregnancies are viable and sometimes they're life-threatening. The process leading up to birth is called labor. In the illustration, you see 4 pictures. The first stage of labor is not shown here. The first stage of labor is called effacement, which is the thinning of the cervix. You do see in pictures A, B, and C, different stages of the second stage of labor, which is called dilation. Dilation requires that the cervix dilate to 10 centimeters in order to allow enough room for the unborn to be born. Okay, so birth happens during the second stage of labor, which is, again, dilation. The third stage of labor, which you see in the 4th illustration marked D, is the expulsion of the placenta or the delivery of the placenta. Incidentally, I want you to remember that contractions during the second stage of labor, as the cervix is dilating, is strongest at 8 centimeters. So right before the child is born, the contractions are their strongest. Okay. The introduction of viable sperm into the vagina by artificial means for inducing pregnancy is artificial insemination. And our last slide, the extra credit question comes from the documentary American Circumcision. So again, I would love for you to go over that film if you haven't yet done so, and you will be prepared to answer that extra credit question. Your quiz will open on Wednesday, July 31st at 6 a.m. and will close at 11:59 on August 1st, which is the end of the class. No other assignments can be submitted after 11:59 on August 1st. So please have everything done by that time. Yeah, that's all you need to know. And I look forward to talking to you all soon. And That's it. Thank you.